Good morning, everyone. My name is Ian. Today, we are going to introduce you the traditional Taiwanese festival, Yuang Festival, to you. From this picture, you can see the Chinese New Year's scroll says, in July of lunar calendar, when the gate of hell open, those ghosts coming around in the living world, and people should worship them. And it says, if you bring more offerings, it means more luck, which means you're gonna do a lot of offerings such as fish, meat, and fruits, and paper money to worship them. More means more luck. Next, we are going to show you about the date of Yuang Festival. Actually, it's the lunar calendar, so it will be different each year. And from this picture, we can see the Yuang Festival in 2006 will be on Wednesday, 17th of August, 2016. So the next year will be different. And now, we are going to show you some pictures about the Chinese or Taiwanese Yuang Festival. And you can see there's lots of good pictures showing the ghosts. Okay, worship in Taiwan generally involves paying respects and making offerings. During Yuang Festival, people light incense, offer food and drink, and burn paper money for the dead. So now we're going to show you about the incense. This picture, you can see there's a lot of incense and burning. And you can see from the incense stick will be tiny to very huge one. So it's really different. And the color, you can see this is yellow, and sometimes it's red, dark red, and brown, or even black. So it has different meaning, but it smells differently as well. And now we're going to see this picture. It shows people worship the dead or the god using the incense. And you can see a lot of people were doing so-called bye-bye. And it's in a large tent. And as you can see lots of offerings, fruits, and everything. And you can see the middle of the people is always, or she or he will be the VIP, holding, also all of them are holding the incense to worship the dead. And you can see this picture as well. Not only the office people were doing the worship, and the general people around Taiwan, we all worship them, the dead. And then you can see sometimes we have a pile of water in front of the worship, and this means the ghosts can use the water to wash themselves. And this is the traditional pictures of when we bye-bye. And next, this picture shows the incense, it's tiny, it's a tiny one, and then we normally hold it, and then when we bye-bye. And after bye-bye, you say your wishes to the dead or to the god, and then you get the incense, stick it around all the offerings. And you can see many incense. Okay? People also use incense and paper money to burn, to honor gods and their ancestors. It is believed that this money is transported up to them when it is burnt. So we need to burn in case the god, the dead, or your ancestor will receive them. Now we're going to show you about the paper money. This picture shows the paper money. And the paper money actually is made by bamboo and straws. So it's recyclable. It's really economically friendly. And so the paper money, actually, they have a print. For example, they have many different meaningful prints on it. Normally, it's red ink. And at the end of the workshop, you need to burn the paper money to the desk and to the god as well. And sometimes you can see the paper money would think differently. And this is a very luxury, fancy one. The shapes look like a ship, and so you could burn it to the desk as well. Some people even burn paper money and the cars, believing it will transport to the spirit world. So the houses and the cars, I don't have a picture here, but you can imagine the paper houses and the cars. They wish their deaths or their ancestor would receive that. And at the date of the Chung Yuang festival, in the night, people were doing the so-called fang shui deng, and that in the river or in the port, in the harbor anyway, to that the deaths going around, to that follow the flow to go away, and the bad luck goes away as well. And sometimes we burn the bigger one of the boat to worship the death and respect them. And then when the day is at the end, to that then go away without any worry. Taiwanese are afraid ghosts might hurt them, so they prepare a feast to make the ghosts happy. That's the Chung Yuang festival, the biggest meaning for. And from this picture, you could see it's a big holiday in Taiwan. So before the Chung Yuang festival, people are really crazy to purchasing lots of food and drinks in order to worship the death. So the malls or supermarkets, they have a big section for selling those stuffs. You can see there's a lot of crackers, instant noodles, cookies, chocolate bars, drinks, food cans, anything you can see. And this is when we're doing the worship, you can see the food and drinks. It looks like that. There's a soda, and even the soy sauce, the tuna can, and even the cooking oil. And this is the rice noodle. So everything, dry food, is possible. And this picture shows, normally we have the fruits and the paper money, and that's the incense. And from this picture, you can see sometimes we worship the animals, chicken, beef, pork, and everything. But for some reasons, we don't kill animals, so you use the noodles to represent. For example, this is the goat, and that is a pig. And during the festival, we also have the so-called Taiwanese puppet show. Taiwanese puppet show is really popular as well. And from this picture, you can see more detail about the puppets. They are all controlled by the human, and the people could imitate different voices. And the other part will be the Taiwanese opera, and it shows everything traditional drama to the people. to enjoy not only the people, but also to the dance. And you can see more closely to the picture of themselves. They are the actors. Actually, a lot of them, they are females, and they are acting the old traditional Taiwanese song. Okay, from this picture, you can see at the end, at the night especially, people are doing some special events to celebrate the Zhongyuan Festival. In Taiwan, normally we have those kind of exotic girls singing or dancing on the stage. If you want to see more about the exotic dance, you have to come here to experience yourself. And on the Zhongyuan Festival in Yilan, we have a very special activities called Chung. People are climbing up the sticky stick and to get on the top to win the prize. And it's really complicated, and not many people can reach the top. And some temples or places, they even have a bigger event to celebrate the Zhongyuan Festival. For example, look at this picture. You can see a lot of fancy lighting around the temple to celebrate the Zhongyuan Festival. And now we're going to show you a video talking about the Zhongyuan Festival, and then you could enjoy more about and then understand more about the Zhongyuan Festival.
Month in Taiwan, it's people take it really seriously. You know, they believe that on the first day of the 7th month, according to the lunar calendar, the ghosts are all let out of hell. They believe that these are hungry ghosts that don't have people doing offerings for them, and they let out of hell for a month, and they wander the earth looking for food and causing a lot of problems for people. so during this time of Ghost Month, people will, well, they'll do a lot of special offerings, especially for these hungry ghosts. They actually call them Ho Hiadi in Taiwanese, which means the good little brothers, the good brothers, kind of a euphemism for these hungry ghosts. So during Ghost Month, you'll see a lot of people, particularly on the first day of the month and the 15th day of the month, and then the last day of the month, you want to have a great big offering of food and paper money and drink and so on for these hungry ghosts to send them back happy to hell, so that they won't stay around and trouble you and cause bad things to happen. And people are really afraid to do a lot of things during Ghost Month. People will not go swimming during Ghost Month because they're afraid that the hungry ghosts will drag them into the water and drown them. People don't like to get married during Ghost Month because they're afraid the hungry ghosts will disrupt their wedding and disrupt the start of their marriage. They don't like to move. You won't see people starting new businesses during Ghost Month because that's a bad time to start a new business. The hungry ghosts could interfere with you getting a good start in your business. There's just all kinds of fears that people have associated with ghosts and Ghost Month.
Some people have accidental deaths, and their spirit has no place to go. They roam on earth and wait for a chance to catch a scapegoat. So some people are afraid of ghosts that will hurt them, so they prepare a feast for them to enjoy. The Feast of Universal Salvation celebrates for Taoists the birthday of the Earth God, who comes to the mortals and decides who is good and who is sinful. For Buddhists, it celebrates the saving of Buddha's eldest disciple, Mulian's mother, from hungry ghosts through the offering of abundant sacrifices to atone for his mother's and other people's sins and save them from hell. Burning paper money advances this wealth to the ghost's next life. Some even will burn paper houses and cars, believing it will transport the spirit with them. If you don't bye-bye, that's offer worship to the ghosts. The ghosts will find you, you will get bad luck. They care that if you don't, you will be cursed. Some people might lose their job, meet many bad things. Many temples are closed because the fate gods are scared of ghosts too. So everyone must all worship the ghosts just in case they get bad luck. Bye-bye can be translated as paying respect, worshipping, visiting, or saluting, or as bowing with hands together. Boiled down to a basic definition, bye-bye is ancestor worship. One fellow Christian blogger in Taiwan writes, "Not every Taiwanese person actually believes 100% that these post-mortem rituals make a difference, but many people have a do-it-just-in-case-it's-true sort of mentality."
Hi everyone, I'm Michael, and today I'm going to talk about the origin of Zhongyuan Festival. In Taiwan, every holiday has its special customs. Taiwanese believes that in the 7th month of the lunar calendar, or Ghost Month, ghosts will come out from the gates of hell and wander around in the living world. The best way to treat these wandering souls is to burn ghost money for them to spend and offer food and drinks as sacrifices for ghosts to dine on. In the middle of the month, water lanterns light the way for the souls of the drowned. During these months, activities such as weddings, swimming, and moving should be put on hold until the ghosts return to the underworld and the gates of hell finally close. The 7th lunar month is traditionally regarded as the ghost month, the result of two major festivals, one Taoist and one Buddhist, both honoring the dearly departed. The Zhongyuan Festival is part of the Taoist tradition. It is the date when the god of earth
and they are separate festivals for God of heaven and the God of water. Give absolution for the sins of the dead. In the Buddhist tradition, this is the time of the Alubana Deliverance Festival, referring to Buddha's compassion in granting salvation for the tormented souls in hell. And it is the time where respect for one's ancestors is greatly emphasized and filial piety gets a lot of attention. One of the reasons for this is that during this month, popular superstitions is that the gate of hell are opened and the souls of the dead wandering among the living. And failure to do the right thing by the deceased might lead to all kinds of ill fortune. The deceased are not a particularly agreeable lot and need to be pacified by offering food and drinks. Jealous of the living, they are prone of bringing the living across the dark side. And in this picture, we can see there are many people and offering some things and for the ghost to dine on. And this is the lantern right here. And many people take particular precautions during the ghost month, avoiding possibly dangerous activities such as swimming. For the unsuperstitious, this makes Ghost Month an ideal time for river and lakeside trips. But you will be warned that you are tempting fate. Zhongyuan marks the high point of Ghost Month and it is celebrated across Taiwan today in the Zhongyuan Pudu, or Mid-Origin Passage of Universal Salvation. While virtually every major temple on the island will have activities on this day, the Keelung Ghost Day Festival has pride of place as the most spectacular. The Pudu rites can be split up into the following parts: inviting the ghost, offering them food, reciting sutras, then driving the ghost away again. Inviting the ghost involves opening the ghost gate and inviting the wandering souls to come up from the underworld into the light, so that the horde of ghosts can have a smooth passage from the gloomy underworld up into the world of mortals. People erect lantern poles in front of the temples and hang lanterns, celebrate Zhongyuan, as the mentioned above, and guide the ghosts. The higher the lantern poles, the larger the area they light up, and so the more lonely ghosts can be fed. For this reason, each temple must consider the amount of feeding they can provide, so as to avoid having food undersupply for the ghost and angering the ghost into bringing misfortune on humans. Apart from the lantern poles erected on the ground, there is also a ceremony where water lanterns are set on the water, lighting the way for the souls of the drowned. In case that the ghosts may be afraid of the world of mortals and will not be able to eat their fill, the towns such as Lugang have patrols that take it in turn to offer sacrifice food each day after the ghost gate has been opened, so as to keep things safe. And this is what we saw is the water lantern, and that is something that lead the drowned of dead.
The 7th month on the lunar calendar is known as the Ghost Month in Chinese folk culture. During this month, wandering specters and ghosts visit the world of living to enjoy offerings of the people. During the month, people of Taiwan pay close attention to their personal safety and avoid uttering the word ghost for fear of incurring bad luck. Various lunar festivals are held across the country. Companies and households alike prepare sumptuous offerings to feast the ghosts and spirits so as to secure peace. On the eve of the Ghost Month, paper lanterns are lit at the Laodagon Temple in Keelung, giving directions to the lost ghosts and spirits of the ancestors and other deities in visiting this world of the living to be feasted. In the first year of Emperor Shenfeng in Qing Dynasty, armed skirmishes between Zhangzhou and Quanzhou ensued, and several local elderlies stepped out to mediate the conflicts. The mediation was successful, and in the 5th year of Shenfeng, the Ghost Festival officially began. The celebration now has 154 years of history. During the early years, the lanterns were hung around the ordinary household in the Ghost Month, and the people prayed for blessings and hoped that the lights would direct the ghosts to the realm of the living. But with the advent of modern-day lifestyle, people nowadays leave the lanterns in the temple instead. All the celebrations and events related to the Ghost Month and the festival kicked off the moment the door to the other world is opened. The release of the water lanterns is the centerpiece of the Ghost Festival in Keelung. The parade before the release of lanterns is a carnival in its own right, with floats, folk performances, international art troupes, and pageants lining the streets to entertain the audience. The crowd drifts toward the shore as night falls. The water lanterns made by various clans are ignited amidst the chanting of the Taoist priests. The water lanterns drift off on ebbing tides. It's best that they drift as far off as possible in order to better guide the ghosts on the ocean back to their world. Ghosts and deities dictate the Chinese concept of good and evil and their morals, be it a customary practice or superstition. These traditions that are passed on by the ancestors serve as a reminder to people today that it is best to show respect for the spirits and the unknown.
The offering of food is the most important rite in the Pudu, and believers make sacrifices of rich dishes to sate the lonely ghost appetites. Apart from food, people also prepare new clothes to allow their passage into the world to be a comfortable one. Because of the disciplinary rites performed by the priest, believers think that the food for the hoarders of ghosts will bring them good luck if they eat it. And so people compete for the food offering in the Jianggu activity, the liveless scene in the Pudu rite. Apart from the offering of food, people also recite sutras for the wandering souls, so that they can cross over into the paradise. The end of the Pudu rite is the closing of the Ghost Gate. On the 29th of day, the 7th month, the lunar calendar, and at dusk on that day, people prepare cooked food outside the doors of their homes as a farewell dinner. For the lonely ghosts and the lantern poles in front of the temples are dismantled, announcing the end of the Pudu rite. Sometimes afraid that lonely ghosts will be unwilling to return to the underworld and will harm mortals, temples will invite Zhonghui, a special deity who protects humans from evil spirits, to escort the ghosts and in this way to keep the locality safe and peaceful. And this is the man who calls Zhonghui. The special significance of wandering souls in Taiwanese society, and that is what I want to introduce. The Pudu rite of the 7th month has traditionally been more important in Taiwanese society than it was in the original settlers' old hometowns back in China. From the 17th century, Han people took the dangerous risk of coming to Taiwan to develop the land and put their lives at the mercy of poisonous snakes, fierce animals, pestilent disease, and a back-breaking toil, mob fight, and popular uprising. The old adage, 9 deaths, 1 life, meaning a situation so dangerous that it would kill 9 out of 10 people, explain the tricky job of fighting to stay alive. Everywhere, the remains of the dead who had no one to bury them created an atmosphere of intense fear about ghosts for the settlers. But these wandering souls of the dead from other places had many brothers from their hometowns, and prompted by religion and pity, people raised funds to bury these exposed remains, and this created the phenomenon in Taiwan of densely packed graveyards for the unclaimed dead. In the small area of Muzha, Taipei, there are 26 such memorial temples. Because these wandering souls who had died in these foreign lands of Taiwan were taken care of like brothers by other settlers here, the Pudu rite in the 7th month was given the name of honoring our brothers, rather different from honoring strangers, which took place back in China. If we look at the history of development of Taiwanese society, the Zhongyuan Pudu ceremony became an important medium of connecting interpersonal relationships in regions of Taiwan. From the 17th century onwards, many of these good brothers of Zhongyuan festival lost their lives protecting their villages and defending the people there. In an age where consciousness of one's hometown identity was intense, people with different hometown identities would, through the Zhongyuan festival ceremony, form their own groups, mutually unite and become a common body against their enemies. The Bao'an Temple at Dalongtong in the Taipei was the center for the Zhongyuan festival rite for descendants of settlers from Tong'an County in Fujian Province, China. And within in the Taipei Basin, 3 groups of Tong'an County descendants would take it in turns to preside over the Zhongyuan ceremony. The Longshan and Qingshui temples in Manga were the center of ceremonies for the descendants of immigrants from Sanyi, the 3 Fujian counties of Nan'an, Jinjiang, and Hui'an, and Anxi County in Fujian Province. Yimin temples in Fangliao in Xinpu Township in Hsinchu County is the center of Zhongyuan festival ceremony for Hsinchu Hakas, and at the time of the Lin Shuangwen and Dai Chaochun anti-king revolts during the Qing dynasty, the ceremony was carried out for the country folk who sacrificed their lives for their hometowns. Qing officials bestowed upon them the name of Yiminmen, roughly translatable as justice men, on these anti-Qing resistors in order to placate the local people. Giving the name honoring brothers to Taiwan's 7th-month Purdue Rite has its own special historical background. Apart from religious significance, the 7th-month Purdue Rite was the most important medium linking communities together in North and Central Taiwan in the 19th century. If people could take the enthusiasm from the honoring brothers ceremony in the 7th month and applied it to helping their more unfortunate brothers, then they could reduce the number of wandering souls.